Hi, and welcome to Libby Presents Ghost News Network. Today is our question of the week. Andy, what do you got for us today?
Alright, so we're all here for a reason, to investigate the paranormal and the like. But what got you interested in it is kind of like at the root of this question. So, was there anything that traumatized you as a kid, that when you were watching like a TV show or a movie that just like made an indelible mark on you, that just like, damn, I'm never going to remember that. I'm never going to forget that now. Let's go top three. If you got them.
Top three childhood traumatization.
Yeah, so I got mine. So there was an episode. Two of them are episodes of Are You Afraid of the Dark? One is the first season, second episode ever, where the girl comes out of the mirror. That scared the hell out of me. Like it was a haunted house, all that kind of stuff. The other one was the Headless Horseman episode. I remember watching that in the kitchen, having to run out and go like, "Hey, Mom, Dad, what's going on over here?" And the other was when I was real little, the aliens from Sesame Street scared the crud out of me. Like the yep, so bad that when I go down in the basement, my sister would be upstairs going yep, and scared the crap out of me. Like, so that's definitely so something along those lines.
For me, it would be Fire in the Sky.
No.
That's a no-brainer. When that came out, that movie scared the shit out of me. Just because it seemed like it could really happen. Like it wasn't so far-fetched out there. They made it seem so real. And it was based off a true story, and something did happen, the whole thing with the lie detector test, that's all real. People passed it multiple times, so I don't know, that really freaked me out, that movie. I remember after watching that, I think I was 11 years old, and I would have crazy nightmares. And that was the time that the show encounters and sightings were out, so they always used to talk about alien abduction, different species of aliens. And I remember waking up a couple times in the middle of the night, and not that I had any experience, but just scared the living shit out of me. Like literally, like I thought I was gonna be abducted. Like that's how serious it got. Like enough where, I was young, so I didn't have like a knife or anything like that, but I used to keep, I remember these giant bolts and giant wrenches near my bed just in case. If I saw something, I'd like throw it at it. Because like I would watch these shows where you would wake up in the middle of the night in your room, and you'd have like 3 or 4 alien beings around you, and like you could scream and no one else in the house can hear it. Like that's it. It freaked the shit out of me.
And a wrench would stop.
It was something, like I don't know. It gave me a little bit of peace, I guess. That really messed me up. That I remember doing the whole Bloody Mary thing. You go in the bathroom, you turn the lights off, you look in the mirror, you say Bloody Mary, and she pops out and shit happens. That, and then when I was a teenager, getting like my license and stuff, Mary's Grave. There was a lot of claims with that place, and nobody really knows where it is. And just going there, doing stupid things, turning your car off, turning it back on, honking the horn, just all this stuff. It's got to come from something. Stuff's not just made up. It comes from somewhere, whether it's that spot or not. It's a whole other story. But I don't know. I remember driving down where the Mary's Grave site is in Head of the Harbor, and this was during the daytime. And we're over by the house, and there was the house across the street. I remember there was an older guy, and I guess it was his granddaughter. They were outside, and one of the people in my car were like, pull over. I'm like, why? I'm like, I want to ask these people straight up. So we pull over, and they're like, so we've got a question for you. What's the deal with the whole Mary's Grave? And the little girl got really scared, ran in the house, and the grandfather was like, I know nothing. I know nothing. And he walked away. It was just really weird. Wow. Like, I don't know if he was just playing it off, but it was just weird. So, I don't know. Those 3 things, I think. Yeah, that's mine.
I know for me, when I was a little kid, my dad sat me down and watched Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And as goofy as that movie is when you're a little kid, that movie scared the crap out of me. The way those clowns looked, big, the creepiness in their faces. I don't like clowns because of it. That movie was one that really got to me. Another one was, I was in 6th grade, so I was 11 years old, and I went to go see Freddy's New Nightmare. And that was my first intro into the Freddy Krueger movies and Nightmare on Elm Street and stuff like that. And that scared the crap out of me because it's like, oh, cool, now that I'm done with this party at night, I'm going to go home and go to sleep. And guess what Freddy likes to do? And that got to me. But so those were like the ones when we were little. When I was older, it's not the film that scares me, but the suspense always gets to me, is Signs. The build-up in Signs and the way they work through the scenes, and forget the last 10 minutes of the movie, throw that in the garbage, but the whole leading up, and then when you see that creature with the weird bent back knees and shit, just used to just bring a chill down my spine and freak me out to no end. I remember watching it with my brother, we're like, it's weird though, because like the ghost and paranormal stuff never really scared me. It's usually kind of goes back to like the UFO type show, like stuff that gets me, I think, more than anything else. And I didn't really even notice that until we started talking about this. I never made that connection. It's like, I don't know.
Wow, I don't even know how old I was, but the first one would be Child's Play.
Child's Play.
I had my buddy. It creeped me out. I don't even remember what I did with that thing, but I had one, and it was just creepy. I was too young to watch that movie at the time. I know I definitely was.
We all were.
And I was like down the street with my neighbor that was like a bunch of years older, and my mom flipped out on their parents, blah 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 blah. But that was fun. So that got it going. Definitely something from Are You Afraid of the Dark? I can't even remember. And then one thing when I was a teenager, my friend was over, my sisters and my mom, we were all watching this movie. Everybody fell asleep. We were watching Stir of Echoes.
Stir of Echoes.
Say what you want about Stir of Echoes, I barely even remember it, but I know I was scared as hell.
Talk to me. Remember that scene?
Nope.
He needs
the best scene in the movie, man. When the
He
kid's
needs
voice
to.
changes.
Somebody needs some
Damn.
progressive therapy. Find out what exactly fucking happened to you, Rocco.
Yeah, for real. I thought it was a great
during
movie.
that movie.
I thought it was a really good movie.
Yeah.
But I get it. All right.
So mine were more so experiences than like shows or movies. When I was a kid, I was probably about 5 years old. I remember I had like one of those really like creepy basements where you had to go outside and go down open the doors and go in.
Storm patches.
Yeah, and we had like our laundry and stuff down there, and I don't know why I was even down there. And I saw a man in the back of the basement, and like saw him vividly. Like I was so young I could still remember the features, which just shows how much it stuck out to me. And I remember it freaked me out. I talked to my mom about it, and then like one day I was talking to my best friend about it, and like I was just describing the features just because it stood out so much to me, and he like stops and he goes, "That sounds like you're talking about my dad," and it turned out his dad had passed, and then a few weeks later I was at his house and he showed me a picture because like he been like he remembered that about like the whole situation or whatever, and so I looked at the picture and was like, holy shit, it was. And so like that like floored me. Then when I moved to Florida, I was like 12 at the time, and that house was extremely haunted. I could take up hours telling those stories, but actually it was so severe that I couldn't sleep at night and actually got homeschooled because I became nocturnal. And I remember I thought, I might have been crazy and stuff like that, which is kind of what got me into this, because, to help people out that were in the same situation where, you start thinking, oh, maybe I'm like fucked up in the head or something, which is really what stood out to me to do this in the first place. And then probably just Ghost Hunters. I was young when it first came out, and I used to watch that show all the time, and I used to love watching it by myself. In the middle, 2 a.m. by myself watching the show and then never sleeping again. So that's kind of
Wednesday nights.
Yep, every Wednesday.
Yeah.
The whole time we've been talking, I've been really trying to think of something, but I and I'm not trying to sound macho or anything like that, but there's never really been anything that scared me like that.
Just sheltered.
I've been trying to think of like a movie, a TV show. Like I watched Are You Afraid of the Dark? I love that show because I thought it was more like, I don't know, I just like reading scary stories. They don't scare me or anything. I just enjoy reading them, and hearing about them and stuff. But I've never had any experiences when I was a kid. There was nothing that really jumped out and scared me, literally or figuratively. So I really can't think of anything at all.
Nothing's ever scared
What
you.
about recently?
Recently?
Yeah.
About getting scared?
Yeah. Couldn't sleep and shit. And
Well, I mean,
that's not on the scare level, but like,
that didn't even really scare me, but it concerned me. But
right.
I was for people who don't know, I was having some dreams that included a demon that I won't name.
Shook.
But
You shook.
yeah, that was interesting because it would wake me up in the middle of the night, and I could very vividly remember the name because it I don't want to get too far into the dream itself.
No.
But yeah, that was, I mean, but even then I wasn't scared. I was just more like concerned about why it's happening or something
Right.
like that.
Right.
And what to do after that, but
Consider that traumatic.
sure. Alright. Demon dreams.
There you go. Visual one.
I had a demon visit me at night, so there's that. Top that.
Movies really never scared me. I've been watching movies
Really?
and things like that.
Poltergeist, like the original.
No.
Damn.
I loved it. I was like,
I
you
hated
know,
that.
but I-
Exorcist.
I enjoyed those movies. My mom had me watching horror movies ever since I was a little girl. You know, my mom was a big Bela Lugosi fan and stuff like that, so I've been watching those. Those don't bother me.
Have you ever seen Fire in the Sky?
Not yet, but it's on Prime. I'm gonna watch
There you
it.
go. That's it. That's the watch it right before you go to bed.
$3.99. But
Oh, you're
Done.
fine.
yeah, rented.
Done right there.
But I've had some very interesting dreams. Like when I was a young girl, I dreamt of this. My aunt's cat died, and I dreamt of it wriggling in the bed. I was like, I don't know, 4. So I saw the cat was just like wriggling and stuff, and I literally got up, ran across the room, took the chair that was next to my bed so I wouldn't fall out of the bed with me, because it was just, I took the sheets and everything, just ran out the thing. So that scared me, but it wasn't, I really can't say a movie scared me.
Damn.
Not yet, and I still, I
Sweet.
watch them and I'm like, if this is gonna be the
Yeah.
one,
I'm the
I've
same
heard
way.
there's a really messed up movie called Heredity. Or
Hereditary?
I
Hereditary.
saw that one already.
It's
No,
more
that
disturbing
scared me.
than
I heard it's
It's not
really
scary.
It's just
messed up.
weird, right?
Yeah,
I heard
a
it's
little
messed up.
Yeah, but
That's really
it's
messed
scary.
up.
Fire in the
seen it
Sky
yet.
right before you go to bed.
Okay, I'll take that challenge.
I've never seen it, so I would
Fire
gladly
in the
do
Sky
that.
did nothing for me.
It doesn't. I mean,
You
just
know what? You know what the difference is?
I have a fear of aliens. I mean,
It's
that's-
no. It's also the generational gap. Like Exorcist to people now, it doesn't look the same
we
though.
don't have a generational cat, me and Michelle.
No, but
Not
things,
much,
but
no.
Yeah.
Right?
but I'm saying with some of the other, like Exorcist, for people that were watching it in the '70s, it scared the crap out of them.
Yeah. I mean,
Fire
because
in
there
the
was nothing
Sky.
like it before
Yeah.
that.
There was nothing like those movies before.
now it's
Now,
saturated.
I have not heard anybody that watched Fire in the Sky that has the same reaction I have to it.
right?
Nobody. Everyone's like, wasn't that bad? Wasn't that bad? And I'm like,
Well, it must have hit a nerve with you. Something in it hit a nerve.
I must have been fucking abducted, and it's just like flashbacks.
Trauma.
Yeah.
It was about me.
Don't discount it. You know.
No, I don't. I'm not. Thanks. Rock me to sleep tonight. God, what do you got?
So, the two of the stories that I was thinking about both reflect of how bad of a parent my dad was. I was like 7, and I wanted to go see The Iron Giant. So we went to the movie theater. We're buying the tickets online, and then he sees in the next theater is Sixth Sense. So he goes, "Oh, we'll see that instead." So I started crying because I want to see Iron Giant. Then we get into the movie, and then I'm just watching, eating popcorn, like whatever.
And then I distinctly remember the one scene where I think it's Donnie Wahlberg. I haven't seen the movie since. When he turns around and you see his brain all blown out in the back of his head. That stuck out in my head forever since then. And then a few years later, I think I was maybe 10 or 11. My dad came home from work and he said, "Hey, I stopped at this DVD store. I got a movie for us to watch later." So he made dinner, he made like sandwiches or whatever. We sit down to watch it, and he puts on Faces of Death. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that before.
Yeah.
It's basically all those like crash videos you've seen of like motorcycles, but you think like, and then they get up and you're like, oh wow, he's alive. They're not alive in this one. There's like real executions.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Crazy.
real
It's
evil
It's
stuff.
messed up stuff.
And so
I've never seen that.
yeah, so watching like horror movies and things like that
Will
have
would
never scared me really.
Yeah.
After seeing that, where I'm no longer squeamish or scared of things. But after seeing that, and then other movies later on, like one in particular, Donnie Darko, and things of that nature that are just mindfucky and like
Love it.
go into like weird sci-fi realms, has been more so interesting to me. Of like factually trying to figure out paranormal things rather than being scared of their existences or anything, because just like, again, not trying to be macho, I've just seen horrific things at an early age. My brain doesn't register being scared.
And I'm on the same mindset though, because like I don't like watching films like Teresa, films like Human Centipede, films like
Or
Yeah.
Saw.
Saw.
they do
Well, I
nothing.
like Saw because they connect really well.
Yeah.
They connect really
Yeah.
well.
I enjoy the overarching story of Saw,
Yeah.
but reading the synopsis, but watching it, I'm like, I don't care.
Right.
Like, it
Yeah.
does nothing. I'm just like, this is
But
boring.
to me, it's that.
I'm just
whole-
seeing real
I
entrails.
don't want to watch movies about things that could actually happen. Like
Yeah.
I'm not I have no interest in watching things like those type like Human Centipede and things because
Like Hostel.
somebody out
Actually-
there Hostel is
Yeah.
another one.
I saw
I-
Human Centipede. I can't get those couple hours back. That's
Yeah,
what
like
think
I
of
just
movies.
to me I don't want to see something that is probably happening somewhere overseas.
Somewhere
But
in
they paid good
Bosnia.
money for it.
Yeah.
they sure did pay good money for it. But I just it's just a rule I have. Not that they bother me or anything. I'm just like, nah,
Yeah.
that's a little too close to home. It's probably happening somewhere in the world. No
So,
thanks.
big shout out to my dad.
So-
Look at me now, Dad.
It's funny that you brought up Poltergeist because that is like my number one like
The original, not the remake.
the
right?
original.
Yeah.
I didn't see the remakes, but I'm like your situation. Like my mom is obsessed with horror movies. I grew up watching horror movies. I'm not the same in the sense of that it made me nothing. I'm like terrified of everything.
And the opposite reaction.
Exactly.
Can't stop watching them.
But that movie, for some reason, like, as a kid, I was probably like 8 or 9 when I first watched it, and like, it genuinely scared me. That I remember, like, the part at the end when the big yellow skeleton is just like sitting outside that bedroom door and it just screams in the girl's face. Like, that was burned in my head forever, still to this day.
See, you're lucky with your generation. When cable goes out, you don't actually get that
The
static on the
static.
TV.
Yeah.
I grew up
You
with
had
that
to, you
shit.
had to live with
So
that.
like after watching that movie and then all of a sudden the cable goes out and you're sitting there staring at a fucking screen like that and it's like, holy shit. Like,
Yeah.
I would literally look into the TV.
Waiting for it to happen.
Are you guys there? Where are you?
Are you
No, I remember I had a TV like in our
Fuck
basement
that.
that was like really old and like it would do that and I'd be scared, like I'd be terrified. I'd like
Yeah.
want to turn it on to play a game, but I'd be like, gotta do it really fast. Like, no static at all. No, it's not happening.
Power input.
I hear you on that movie. Yeah, that movie sucked.
But
man. Damn.
just like a lot of things with that movie though, like for one thing, the first time I watched it, I was alone. My mom was like, "Oh, this is a great movie," and like put it on and was gonna like watch it,
Then left.
but then was like, "I gotta clean the kitchen. I gotta do this, laundry, blah, running everywhere." So I remember I'm sitting there. It's Halloween. I'm eating candy. I was eating runts. Remember this like vividly. I got scared. I
This is
went.
super traumatic.
I inhaled it, and I
my God.
got up and I was like, "Fuck, I'm choking." I remember running into the kitchen, being like, "Mom, I'm gonna die." She had to like give me the Heimlich. The candy like flew out everywhere. It was like all over the floor. Very traumatic.
Wow, so the movie almost killed
So,
you.
literally, this movie almost scared me to death. So that, and then later on finding out that like the whole thing was cursed. that they used real skeletons to film that scene of her in the swimming pool because it was cheaper than getting fake skeletons. And no one told her
Really?
until
Yeah.
after the movie. Yeah. And like
Bunch
so
of
many
people on the
The girl
crew.
died at
Yeah.
12 years old.
Yeah,
The actress.
and the older daughter, like the older daughter, got strangled by her boyfriend. Like everyone died, like in traumatic ways. Like
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah,
People
You
just on
should
the
look
crew and
into
everything.
that.
Yeah,
Are you
Really,
serious?
really
There's fires and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing
They
with
had to have like a
Exorcist.
shaman come in and like
I
cleanse.
had no idea. Wow.
Yeah, like,
Well,
you
there
should
was
look
only
into
3 of
that.
them.
It's really scary.
She died at the third one.
A lot of people died. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that influenced a lot of things, especially just like the concept of the movie of like contacting the other side and like trying to figure out what's there. So like, yeah, I would say that that's a big part of it. That's a huge part. And then I remember when I was really young, me and my brother, there was like on Sci-Fi probably like just 24 hours of aliens, videos, interactions, caught on camera, and everything,
Oh,
anything. And that fucked me up.
Have you ever seen Fire in the Sky?
I've never seen. I'm gonna.
I'm
watch
not
it
gonna
now,
let her watch it.
Do not watch
During the
before
day.
you go to bed.
It's a Saturday morning.
8 a.m.
movie.
That's like,
Like
wake up at
cartoons.
7
Like,
a.m. to watch it.
I remember
be
feeling that feeling of like I'm laying in my bed and I was so petrified to even like move or close my eyes because I was like, how do I know that me thinking about it, like they know that I'm thinking about it, so they're gonna come and get me. And then I remember I had to go sleep in my parents' bed. I was in between them and I was like, this is like the safest I can be, and I'm still terrified because I couldn't stop thinking about. I was like, stop thinking about the thing you're supposed to not be thinking about. And I just drove myself insane. And I got to the point where I couldn't even like function because I was just so scared. And that was like for like a good year and a half. I was like sleeping on my parents' floor because I was terrified.
Cameron, did you see a full body apparition?
I would
But
literally
think it's
sleep
just
with the
alien
covers.
thing, cause like,
Yeah, it was the alien
really,
thing. Ghost
like,
never bothered
No.
me. Yep.
Cause like Ghost is like, yeah, it's a little freaky, but they're not gonna like attack you. They're not gonna
Right.
abduct you. They're not
Take
gonna
you,
experiment. I'm like
Maybe have those
laying
in
there
my church.
going, how do I know I'm really in my room? What if this is just me in like a coma and they're making me think I'm in my room, but they're like,
You really want to
like I don't know.
Oh,
So
shit, good luck.
like that really messed me up. And then Poltergeist, the clown.
Fucking
Not
clown.
Oh, the
the
clown.
I had a fucking clown lamp that freaked the shit out of me when I was a kid. I hated that.
I'm showing her
thing.
Supernatural now. We're in season 2. We just watched the clown episode,
Oh my
and
God.
as soon as we saw it, she was like, "Fuck this! No."
I can't be in a dark room for more than 10 seconds.
You are in the wrong.
I can't wait. It's gonna be great.
Somebody lied on their application.
We'll get you accustomed to it. It won't be so bad. The only thing I can't help you with, though, you're fucked.
That kid from the movie actually almost died also from the clown. They filmed that whole scene in reverse. So like the clown actually was around its neck and then let go. Because you know, it like strangles him.
Right.
He said that they were testing it before the scene and the thing got caught. And he started choking. But he couldn't talk because he was choking. But luckily Steven Spielberg just like happened to notice it and he just like ripped the thing apart and got it off of him. Like
That is
crazy.
insane.
Like so many things went wrong.
I didn't
in
know all that.
movie.
Yeah.
You should definitely look into
Research
it.
it. It's
I
really
think
interesting.
Stephen King dabbles in the dark arts.
Yeah.
I mean, not Stephen King. Steven Spielberg.
Definitely.
I mean, E.T. Come on.
It's a demon.
Yeah, you can't say that you
That's
didn't
the
say
only
that.
alien I can actually like
That you like?
stand. Yeah.
That is a freaky fucking movie. Nah. Good, man.
All right, so what did you think about this topic for our question of the week? Let us know in the comment section below. And if you haven't yet, give this video a like, comment, share, and subscribe. And you can also click the little notification bell so you know when all of our content is being uploaded to YouTube. So thank you guys very much for joining us again on this latest edition of Ghost News Network. Take care, guys.